Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD Podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the EntreMD Podcast. And today, we have Dr. Tracey here, and I'm so excited about this episode. And this is a backstory, okay? So Dr. Tracey is a client of mine, and we get on a call, and she's like, I'm caught up. I've listened to all the episodes. I'm like, oh my goodness. She's like, all of them. I think it was 62 or 63 at the time. And I'm like, you're amazing. And she's like, I've learned so much and all of this. I said, you know what? We're going to do a podcast episode, and you're going to share the top 7 things that you got out of it. And for those of you who are listening, some of these will be like recaps. Some of them you've seen a brand new light. If you haven't caught up, she will catch you up in this episode. So this is going to be so much fun. I have no idea what she's going to say. So we're just going to talk about it, and it's going to be exciting. So welcome, Tracey, to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
So I'm going to give you a moment to introduce yourself to my amazing audience and let them know the brilliant physician you are and entrepreneur.
Sure. Thanks. I'm so honored to be here with you, Dr. Una, and just share everything I've learned from you because it's so much. I had to just pick 7, but I did limit it to 7 like I was asked. My name is Tracey Agnese. I am a physician. I'm a pediatrician. I practice in New York City. I did my medical school at SUNY Downstate in New York. I did my residency at NYU in pediatrics, and I am a partner in a private practice. We have 2 locations in New York, one in the city and one in Scarsdale. We have 6 partners. We have 3 employed physicians and 2 part-time nurse practitioners. I handle a lot of the HR in my practice, and I do some of the managing partner stuff as well. We divide everything, but HR is mostly my thing. So, and I also just launched my own company called TraceyMD and my YouTube channel, which Dr. Una has had a big hand in helping me do. And that's part of, what I'll go through is what I learned. But that's me. And I met Dr. Una 2 years ago at the practice management conference I was there as a practicing physician and not at all as an entrepreneur. At that, I thought myself up, but then, we've crossed paths again lately, and it's so exciting. So exciting. And I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy for all your success. And we're going to talk about what you do later on in the show, and all the links will be there. So EntreMDs, we all support doctors, okay? So she's going to talk about it. We're going to share. We're going to amplify her because that's what we do. And she's teaching all this for free, okay? So that's what we're going to do. All right. So first of all, before we get into these 7 things, how did you find the time? Because I know you. I know you're a pediatrician, then you're a partner. And when you say you deal with the HR stuff, I didn't know that. That is the stuff, right? Like all the times I've done surveys among private practice physicians, like what is the number one challenge? HR has always been the winner. Okay, so you're doing pediatrician stuff,
partner stuff, HR stuff, you have a husband, you have kids, you have a brand new business. So that's like a newborn that you have, right? Giving you hopefully no sleepless nights, but newborn. And you had time to listen to 62 episodes over a short period of time. So where did you find the time? How did you do this?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think there's time for everything if you want to do it. But the answer to that question about how do I find the time is I commute. I commute a lot. So I don't use that time idly. I can't just like sit there. So I use that time to learn, and I listen to it on my commute to and from. And I also listen to podcasts when I'm just doing stuff around the house. Like if I'm, cooking, cleaning, or doing anything. I don't like to have any idle time. So if I listen also when I go for a run. I listen just in any downtime. So I was able to like bang through it. And then I felt like I was driving to work with you every day, and I was looking forward to it. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, I get to get in the car with Dr. Una again today.
That's so
I can't wait till I hear what she has to tell me.
So just so you guys know, I've been commuting in New York every day with Dr. Tracey, just letting you know. So I love that you say that. Of course, you've listened to all the episodes, so you know I'm a big promoter of Automobile University, right? You're in your car. So think about the dramatic transformation you can experience from listening to 62 episodes of a podcast over a short period of time, where you could have just been listening to something on the radio that, it's okay, but you can use this to make yourself better when you're running, when you're doing laundry, when you're cooking. Like those are all times you're not using your ears, right? And then you can do what you're doing and still be attending quote unquote school at the same time. So that is so amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go through these 7 things. We'll start with number one tip from Dr. Tracey.
Okay. So my number one has to be my favorite episode. And I think after, from listening to them, I think it might be one of your favorite episodes too. And it's the compare-itis one, right?
Yes.
So I love that episode so much because I think we all find ourselves doing it, And so one of the things that you say in it that I absolutely love is like, you're like, don't compare yourself to others. It just makes no sense, which it doesn't make sense in your brain. But of course, we all find ourselves doing it. You can't help it when you're, on any social media, any platform, or even just like real life. You just can't help it. But, you go through the whys of why you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it because people are at different stages in their life. People have different whys and different, reasons for doing stuff. People have different starting points, and it all makes sense. And so at the end of that episode, I really felt like there's only one person that I can ever compare myself to. And that is like the me from yesterday. And so whenever I find myself, whenever you compare yourself to somebody, you feel down, right? It doesn't make you feel good usually. So, because you're not comparing yourself to people that are, you're comparing yourself to people who are doing more things than you. So you wind up feeling not so good. But when that happens, I just remember about that. And I remember to just compare myself to where I was yesterday. And when I do that, I usually can find, one or more things that I've improved on or done since yesterday. And that always makes me feel better and move on.
Awesome. So rather than comparing yourself to somebody else and feeling down, you can compare yourself to who you used to be, appreciate where you are now, and then move on and make yourself better. I love it. Love it. So I'm going to put the links for every episode she mentioned. I'm going to put the links in the show notes so you can check it out. Okay. But that's the podcast episode on comparing. So compare-itis, the disease of comparing yourself to other people. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So what's number 2?
Okay. Number 2 is just start by starting, right? So this comes up a lot. And I was so inspired by your story of how you started the podcast. And I love that you shared like the details with us, literal dates, like November 9th, I didn't have, the equipment. November 10th, I just decided, and it really makes it just feel so real and be like, if she can do this, I can do this. And along with that is, start by starting. It's like, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And that you say often, progress, not perfection, and that B- work is okay. So taking those things together, I wound up just, like I said, I wanted to do this YouTube channel and I just started shooting one day. I was just like, I'm not ready, but I'm never going to be ready. We're not ready for all the things in our life. So I literally just sat down, and I put the camera on and I just started talking and recording. And I was like, it's okay if it's B- work, and we get better as we go. And the other thing I think, is that a B- work to us as doctors is not really B- work, like to other people, to other people, it's not a B-, So just start by starting and you'll never be ready, but that's how you find your voice. That's how you find your path and just start.
I love it. And you did that. You just started your YouTube channel. Like, I'm going to do it. So let me ask you this, because you're a few weeks in now.
So you started it and you started by just starting and you were like, I'm okay with B- work.
Mm-hmm.
What has that done for you? Like just starting?
Yeah. I mean, it just starting makes you, first of all, it gets you excited about it. It gives momentum. You're talking about it. You started, then you start talking to people, sharing, and then you get ideas from people and people, seeing what you did. And then 5 people tell you that your angle needs to be a little different and your lighting needs to be better, then you know exactly what you need to do next. And it really just gets you going, and with these videos, I mean, everyone says that anybody who's successful says they look back at their first video or their first podcast and it's not where they are today, and that's okay. And so I kind of kept that in the back of my mind, and with each video, I feel like if I just do one thing better, then in 6 months, then I'll be in a much different place, and it really just gets you going. And then it's like a snowball effect, once you get going, then it's easier to go. It's, momentum. If you don't start, then you're just going to not start for like 6 months.
Yeah, let's not do that. So I want to point out some things because you dropped some really good nuggets here, right? One is you said people say, okay, so, maybe your angle was not good and stuff like that. There are many people who interpret that as people hating on them, right? Like my naysayers came out. But I love that you're looking at that as an opportunity to be better. That is a pointer to a growth mindset where I want to be better. So if you're showing me stuff, I mean, some people are just flat out haters. So they exist. I'm not saying they don't, but someone's saying, hey, tweak this or tweak that. You want to analyze that and say, okay, so that's actually accurate, and then make the adjustment. So you accepting constructive criticism is like one of the markers of someone who's going to be successful. It just is. And then the second thing is the opportunity cost of not starting, right? Because if you don't start, you never know what becomes. You just don't know. So you want to just do it.
Yeah. And then you lose all that time.
And you lose all that time and you can't get it back.
You can't get it back. Yeah.
So love it. Okay. Let's go for the next one.
Yay. Okay, cool. All right. Number 3 kind of actually segues from number 2, right? So start by starting and you're scared, and that's okay. Number 3 is be brave. And that, you say often in that taking action, and I love this, taking action is the antidote to fear, that you're doing things not in spite of the fears, but you're doing it with the fears. You know what I mean? And you don't have to wait for that fear to go away, because it doesn't go away and it won't go away, but you still do it. And one of the episodes where I really love when you talk about this, and you had a guest on, and it was about, I forget the name of the episode, but it was about how this doctor overcame her fear about the Facebook Live.
Yes.
And you guys talked, and I love that her and you both say, you have to, identify and listen to that inner critic, and you named them, Vicky and Suzette. I forget whose were whose, but you listen to her, you address her. You don't just ignore her, because then you're just, you have to address what she has to say. And I've taken that on my own too. I created my own, with a name.
What's your inner critic's name?
Well, so the inner critic is crazy, right? So she's just crazy. So my inner critic's name is Pazza, which in Italian means crazy. And it came from I did a lot of study abroad in college to Italy. And whenever I would say my name, Tracey, it doesn't translate very well in Italian. So over and over, they thought I said crazy. So then they would say, instead of Tracey, they thought I was saying crazy. So then in Italian, it was Pazza. And so that was just kind of a joke. Something I forgot about, I don't know, 20 years ago, whenever.
Wow.
And so when you guys were talking about Vicky and Suzette and how, she's crazy, and I was like, crazy? That's mine.
Okay, there you go. Now we have, so mine is Vicky. So we have Vicky, Suzette, and Pazza. Okay, we're making progress here. Yeah. And it's very helpful to, we talk about the inner critic. Some people may think it's a little, woo-woo or funny and stuff like that, but it's really helpful to realize that those are not your thoughts, right? Because a lot of times when we hear all these things, we're like, I'm thinking. No, you're not. Your inner critic is just doing the mostest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it can be like a real thing sometimes, concerned about, liability concerns, legal issues, and be addressing that, and then realizing that person is going down the route of worst case scenario. And then, but I've done that. Okay, then what is the worst case scenario, and kind of what would happen with that, and kind of squelching it that way instead of it just always being there, addressing it and being able to move forward. I think it just helps me move forward.
Love it. So with number 2 and number 3, I have to stop and tell everybody. There's a theme here. Just start, and don't let your fears stop you. take action in spite of your fear. I want to throw out a challenge. We're burning daylight here. We're not going to live forever. It would be nice to think that, but we're not, right? So what an amazing time for you to own something that you know you should do and you have the capacity to do, but you've been too afraid of just starting and putting out B- work, or you've just been, afraid that it's going to fail and stuff like that. Maybe today is a great day to embrace it and say, you know what? I'm done procrastinating on that. I'm just going to do it, right? So pick something you've been scared of and make a commitment to do it today. And when it all works, you can blame it on Tracey. Say, Tracey, your episode changed my life. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go to number 4.
Dr. Una has so many good things. Okay. Number 4. So is similar, actually, now that you said to growth mindset. Number 4 is it's a journey, right? And I feel like that comes up a lot, in your episodes, which I love, because you have to focus on growth, and failure is a part of that growth. The example you use often in your episodes is the baby and pediatrician. So I love this one, the baby that falls when they're learning to walk. Nobody's like, oh, that baby fell. That baby's never going to walk. We celebrate it. It's part of it. If watching my daughter's soccer game last weekend, if she misses the goal, I'm not going to be like, oh, you didn't get that goal. No, it's practice. She's, learning to do it. And so hearing that over and over, and hearing like stories of guests that have had a failed, whether, some guests with a failed delivery system or a failed book, or a guest that have heard no and no and no and no, like they just keep on going, and that it's a journey and it's all part of the journey, and just always, taking that next best step, whatever that is. Like, you don't have to have the exact blueprint figured out, but that you just, it's a journey, and you just take the next best step that you can think of.
And isn't that so liberating, though?
Yeah, it is. It's very liberating.
Yeah. I don't have to have the finished product, because business is not a finished product. It's about a journey, and it's a journey I can enjoy, because I'm going to grow on the journey. I'm going to hit some really high highs. Yes, they're going to be lows, but happens to be part of the journey. It's so liberating, because you're like, okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. When I got started, I thought I had to have the exact end goal. This is exactly what I'm, going to get. And it held me back, because I wanted to wait until I knew exactly how it was going to go, but when I adopted it's a journey, focus on growth, the next best thing, it really just keeps you going forward, and it develops as you develop. And it's a good thing, because then you kind of get the feedback from the people that you're trying to serve, as far as what they do or don't want. I don't know the exact video length that's going to be perfect for my customer, people right now. And I'm doing different ones, and I'll see if, what resonates, and then be able to adapt and do what works for them.
I love it. Enjoy your journey, entrepreneurs. Yeah. I've talked about this on a podcast episode, I think. Maybe it's one that hasn't been released yet, but about one of the things I wish I did with my first business, which was my private practice.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I did talk about it, right?
Yep. How you wish you celebrated.
I really wish I enjoyed the journey, because when I started, I was like, we're this itty bitty practice, three exam rooms and one provider and all this stuff. And, I'm not really like the other people. And I didn't enjoy that phase. You know what I mean? Like, looking back now, if I knew it's a process of time, you'll get there, I would have enjoyed my first patient. I would have enjoyed the first day we saw 5 patients. I would have thrown a party. I would have enjoyed the first day we hired a dog. I would have enjoyed all of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I guess that's why I talk about it a lot, because I'm like, don't wait, guys. Like, you're never going to get to the destination. We don't even know where the destination is. We know where we are. We know what our next steps are, but we don't know what it's all going to look like. It's going to be good, but we don't know what it's all going to play out to. I didn't know there would be EntreMD. I didn't know there would be EntreMD Business School. I didn't know any of this. It's just one step in front of the other. I would have enjoyed it so much more. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's a journey.
Yeah. And then once things evolve to bigger and bigger from what, people keep saying on that do get that big, is that, then you give up some of the little things that you're able to do. Like, I think you said in one of them, when you're able to have that one-on-one and spend more time when you're not that busy, that kind of stuff, enjoy that, because it will change, and so enjoy the things at the moment.
I love it. Just enjoy it. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I was listening to a webinar by Michael Hyatt. I mean, multiple $1 million company, fastest growing companies in America and all of that stuff. And they were talking about a launch they did. This is in recent years. This isn't that long ago. And they launched this product. He had the 5 Days to Your Best Year, which was like a program and all of that stuff. And they were like, oh yeah, we're going to do a version for leaders, because leaders would need this even more. And they do this version. I need you to think of, he has programs that tens of thousands of people sign up into, right? They had one. Exactly. That was my reaction. They had one. Like they were like, is our tech broken? No, they had one. And it made me realize, I was like, if at their level, they can have that. Now, of course, it didn't affect the fact that they'd had a really great year and all of that stuff, right? They recovered from it. But it goes to show you, when you see those people on social media that you're comparing yourself to, and because of that, you won't enjoy your journey. The backstory, we're all the same. Behind the scene, we're all the same. We all have ups, we all have downs. We all have times where imagine they recorded all this stuff. They put the program together. Imagine the man hours. Imagine the amount of money they put behind it. And one person bought it. One. Okay. So enjoy the journey. Yeah. Okay. So that's number 4. Let's go to number 5.
Okay. Number 5 is focus on serving your people. Find your people and serve them, solve their problem, find their pain point and solve it. And I love how you say it's unfair to hold back. They need you. And what I'm doing with Tracey MD is like really trying to be there for new moms and support them, teach them how to take care of their newborn baby, but also empower them to take care of themselves, because a lot of new moms kind of put that to the side. And as part of, enjoying the journey, I really want them to enjoy the journey as well and feel like it's okay to focus on themselves a little bit. So they need you. And, again, some of the people that you brought on and a lot of the stories that you say, the one with the Galveston diet, that was, I think, one of the beginning ones, where she talks about, she had 20 years of practicing and a year of doing it for free in Facebook groups. And then she developed a system, she got feedback, and she focused the entire time on solving this problem for her people. And that episode and those stories would just make me think, well, she did it, I can do it too. Just focus on the person that you're trying to help.
Love it. And that's all that business is about, right? It's about helping people. The side effect of that is you make money. That's literally what it is. It's about helping people. And I love what you do. I'm going to let you, this was number 6?
That was
number 5.
Was 5.
Okay.
I've got 2 more.
I'm going to let you unpack a little bit. So we're going to interrupt this because a lot of listeners are moms. And the ones that are not moms, they know moms, right? And I think that's one of the most challenging things you'll ever do is be a parent, be a mom. I remember with my first kid, I was already a full-fledged pediatrician at this time. And I'm going like, oh my goodness, like what in the world? And it's a time where you're very vulnerable as well. And so I love what you do. Okay. So I want you to talk to the audience, kind of let them know what you did. You have a really cool backstory behind it and tell them what the link to your YouTube channel is. And then we'll go into number 6.
Sure. Yeah. So I, I'm pediatrician, general pediatrician. And basically the idea started as far as who I'm going to serve, like what I want to do about 6 years ago, right after I had my oldest daughter, and my sister, who I am super close with and is just about 2 years younger than I am. And my sister and I have lived together our entire lives. And at this point in our lives, when we were both pregnant and I had my baby and she had her baby about 8 months after I had my baby, she was living all the way on the other side of the country. And it was the first time we were living apart. And so she had her baby and I just felt like so sad that I wasn't able to be there for her. And I had all these ideas as to, I thought of originally as like writing letters. Like I would write letters, how to taking care of mom and baby. Like I wanted to be able to just teach her how to take care of her newborn from the perspective of a pediatrician and a new mom, but more importantly, or just as importantly, to really teach her how to focus on taking care of herself during that time too, especially because I wasn't physically there with her. I just wanted to be able to teach her to do that and that it's okay. And like little ways here and there to take care of yourself when you're a new mom taking care of this baby. And I never did that. I never wrote the letters, but it came up over and over and over the years as something I wanted to do. And I just see, the way that we address new moms in this country is different than other countries. And it's not great. We expect a lot of them right away. And we kind of don't address the new mom. Everybody focuses on the baby and we just expect a lot of the new moms. And then when COVID hit, that's actually really what happened. So COVID hit, I started to just see these moms literally just crying in my office, which new moms do in my office all the time. But, with COVID being kicked out of the hospital sooner and having none or little support at home and they just were a mess, like so sad. And then that with the fact that when I was in New York City in, March, and it was very slow in the office for a few weeks there. And so I had a lot of time to spend with these new moms. And actually at that point too, I created like a virtual support group for my office for new moms where I did Zoom meetings with a few of them to just kind of do that, because they usually would have a new mom support group that they can go to a park, that they can talk to other moms at. All that stuff was gone, So that's what happened. So I started that in COVID, and then I decided that I just wanted to take that message beyond my practice and my patients. And I didn't know exactly what to do with that. And I don't know, YouTube came about. And so that's what I started off with the YouTube channel, and I'm putting out a new episode every week. And I am going to get on all the social media to just get the message out there. Take care of yourself, new mom.
Yes. Okay. So links to the YouTube channel would be in the show notes. Okay. So if you're a new mom, go binge away. If you know new moms, which you do, share it with them. Okay. Awesome. And I love that you're coming from a place of service, right? And it's a really valuable service. It's hard to be a mom all by yourself. And COVID is kind of forcing that.
Yeah. And there's so much wrong information out there too, is what, that these new moms, not only are they overwhelmed and anxious, but they're being bombarded with incorrect information. So, and
we won't talk about what comparisonitis does, right? With that, because
yes,
you should have lost all that weight. You should have done this.
Yes,
you should, So I love what you do. All right, people, go subscribe to our YouTube channel and spread the word. Okay. All right. So let's go to number 6.
Okay. Number 6 is surround yourself with support.
Yes.
And I feel like this comes up over and over in your podcast. And the first one that I want to talk about is the way that you talk about your husband as your mentor and your coach. And I just love the way you talk about him and how he's been so influential in, who you are as a person and your business, and in one of the episodes where you say that you knew you wanted to get better on speaking. And there was this very expensive speaking mastermind, and, he knew your goals, and he pushed you and he said, just do it, and then you were like, okay, just do it, So having support around you as your husband, and then your network, you say many times that your net worth is determined by your network, which I love, and that I forget what episode it is, but you say that if you're the best thing in the room, that you're in the wrong room. And I just love that, you're in the wrong room, that you need to surround yourself with people who are going to push you to move forward. And that gives you, the accountability. Like if I say I'm going to publish a new video every week, I need to be accountable for that, and it gives you the momentum, because as you're talking about it with these people who are supportive, you never know who it is that you're talking with and what they might have to, bring to the table to help inspire you or move you in a certain direction, So just surrounding yourself with people that can support what you're doing and encourage you and motivate you is really important.
Yes. And amen to that. If there was something, that I could go back and not redo like I regret it or whatever, but this is what I help people do, because I'm like, I did that, not the right route, you shouldn't do that, is to figure out the people thing early. So some people are like, I flat out don't do people. People have hurt me before, I don't do people. I didn't have that issue. I'm the introvert who's socially awkward. I would love to do people, but I just can't do people because, I can't. And I wish I would have overcome that earlier and been more strategic with my relationships, right? So what you talked about if you're the smartest person in the room, that you're in the wrong room, that is so, it sounds like, but it's so important that you put yourself in relationships that have you a little intimidated, not in a bad way, but you're kind of like, oh my gosh, can people really do that? Like you need those kind of people in your life, because what it does, it creates positive peer pressure. When you want to slack off, it's like everybody's behaving. What's wrong with you, right? And then you just behave by default and you aspire for bigger. So maybe you can't do what they're doing, but clearly you could do more than you're doing. You know what I mean? And it just keeps you moving forward. So, this again, I love what you're bringing up, because you're bringing up challenges, So another challenge is to take inventory of your social circle, right? And that what I mean by that is the people closest to you. Do you have people that just by their existence, they inspire you to be better? Do you have people that just by their existence, they make you go like, wow, I wonder if I could hit that goal? Just by their existence, you think of slacking off and you're like, well, I'm sure they're not slacking off. I best get to work, right? If you don't have those people in your life, go find them and put them in your, you know what I mean? Like, you control your social circle, go find them, insert yourself into those circles so you can be a tad intimidated all the time, which is good.
Yeah, a little uncomfortable, but
a little uncomfortable, but that's good.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. I love your 7. I might even do a bonus one. Okay. Let's do it. Number 7.
Okay, number 7, what Dr. Una taught me on my Dr. Una Automobile University is that I am an entrepreneur. I didn't believe it. And I think as doctors, we think that we need to do something to qualify to call ourselves something, right? We had to go to medical school to get that degree to call ourselves a doctor. And I think it's kind of like, well, what did I do to become an entrepreneur? I'm not one. Or maybe I'll call myself one in, when I reach X, Y, and Z, But I learned from you that's just not true, and that it's a mindset, and that the business is me, and that, getting my MD and learning how to be a doctor actually set me and all of us up really well for running a business and being an entrepreneur, that you can apply all those lessons, and I think I didn't realize that. I thought that it was so different, but it's really not. In medicine, we learn by doing, we see one, we do one, we teach one. And if you take that to business, there's nothing in business that we can't learn either. It's basic stuff. We just learn it and we can do it. Just like you said, I think in one of the episodes, you give the example of the spinal tap on a newborn baby, and so there's nothing that we can't learn. Like, we could figure it out. We can do each part of the business. We can figure it out. And just because it's business doesn't mean that we're not good at it or we don't know, and with that, and with being an entrepreneur is that, one of the things that you taught me is that I have a brand, but if I'm not doing anything about it to curate that and make it what I want, then my brand is just non-existent. It's a brand. It's just non-existent, So I am an entrepreneur. My business is me, and I need to cultivate that.
Oh my goodness. So many nuggets in one. Are you sure that's just number 7? It's not like 7, 8, 9, 10. That was so
You know what? I said I had to limit it at 7. So I did put little subtopics under each one, but that I thought was by groups.
So good. Okay. Now I'm going to pull out something you said that I've thought it, I may have said it, but not as good as this. Okay. We feel like we have to do something to call ourselves something, right? And it's so true. Like, if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, what certification can I take? If I'm going to be a speaker, what certification do I need to get for that? Because that's the way we're trained, right? Med school, you have to get something. Residency, you have to get something. And, that's just the way we've been trained. But in the business world, it's completely different. Like, what certification did Mark Zuckerberg have to create Facebook? What certification did Elon Musk have to put a man on the moon? What certification did Jeff Bezos have to create Amazon, like to create this $1 trillion company, right? None at all. So it is so freeing. So people, I hope you hear, Dr. Tracey, you don't need to do something to be called something. You're already there. You're already a business, whether you own a business venture or not. You, the MD, you are a brand. And you can build that, and you can monetize it, you can leverage it, you can negotiate with it, you can do all kinds of things with it, and you can build all kinds of things. And then you said that, see one, do one, teach one. And based on that, you can learn any business principle, and is the truth. So I suck at this. No, you don't. You haven't seen one, done one, taught one. If you will do that, then you won't suck anymore. That is so good. Yay. Okay, I'll let you do a bonus. Give us one more. Because that was so good.
I know. I mean, I put all my things in there. I just love that. I love the energy that you bring. And the energy seriously pumped me up for my days when I was doing my Dr. Una University on the way. I feel like I got to work each day and I just, had that energy. And I think that is so important for succeeding, is to just have that energy and that mindset. Like, I've got this, I can do it, and let's do this, and I feel like that's what each episode brings to me, is I end it with a positive mentality of oh, I can do this. What am I going to do today? What am I going to conquer?
I love it. So let me tell you this. I think I've told you already. So I have certain clients that I call bulldogs. And it's not because they look like bulldogs. It's because they have the attitude, right? I have the bone. I'm not letting it go. And I just want to say, I love the fact that I'm sure you approach life this way, but you approach this whole entrepreneurial journey like a bulldog. Like, of course I'm going to succeed. Yes, I don't know everything, but I know enough to start, and we're going to start. And now that I've started, I can do this a little better. I'm going to do it better. And, I am just rooting for you, because I'm just sitting, watching it all unfold. And I can't wait to see what it will look like 6 months from now, a year from now. Like, where would it be? What would the spin-offs be? What would you have created? And it's just going to be so cool to watch. So thank you for doing this. And thank you for pulling your 7 lessons and, a bonus one. And if you were to give a word for somebody who's thinking about starting an entrepreneurial venture, now that you've, the hardest part of, taking, a plane ride is taking off, and you've taken off and you're going, what would you say to someone else who's kind of been in the runway for a year or two, but hasn't had the courage to take off yet? What would you tell them?
I would say now is the perfect time. Really. I mean, 2020 is really, right now, it's the perfect time. Just do it, because, the world is changing and people's needs and priorities are shifting. And I just think all the doors are wide open, and just find what you love and what you feel like you have been thinking about. If that's your passion and you want to do it, like, there's not a better time than right now.
I love it. All right. You heard Dr. Tracey. I didn't say it, but I concur. So go for it. Just start. And thank you so much for coming on and doing this. And we're rooting for you. And all the lovely people listening are on their way to your YouTube channel to unsubscribe as I speak. Hint, hint. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for coming in and listening. And I'll see you on the next episode of the EntreMD Podcast.
If you love this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, share, and review it on iTunes. As you go about your week, remember, you're not just an MD, you're an EntreMD. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode. Until next time.